60 Minutes with Angela starts right now.
Now, the year was 1984. These four men came together to found a magazine called Newswatch. The late Delegiwa, Ray Ekpu, Dan Agbese, and Yakubu Muhammad. Their first edition rolled out on January 28, 1985. The following year, 1986, precisely on October 19 of that year, the founding editor-in-chief of the magazine was killed by a parcel bomb in his home in Ikeja, a suburb in Lagos State. That's the former capital of Nigeria and remains its commercial capital. Today, we still don't know who did it. And so when a retired Deputy Inspector General of Police who was in charge of the investigation at that time comes out categorically to say that he knew who did it, and that at 80 years old, he regrets not being allowed to question the person that he thought did that murder, I thought it was time to look at this story. Well, hello and welcome. This is 60 Minutes with me, Angela Jitmobi. Thank you for joining me on the program today. And that's where my host today comes in. He's one of the four men that founded the Newswatch magazine. He's a former president of the Commonwealth Journalists Association, that was between 1990 to 1994, a former editor-in-chief of Newswatch magazine. In actual fact, he succeeded Delegiwa when he died in 1985. He's also a former CEO, Chief Executive Officer of Newswatch Communication Limited, and also has served as Chairman, President, and CEO of Newspapers Proprietors Association of Nigeria, NPAN. Educated at the University of Lagos and the Indiana State University, Bloomington, he's won several awards, including International Editor of the Year, 1987. So, join me after the break as I count down 60 minutes with Ray Ekpu, a former editor-in-chief of Newswatch magazine. Welcome back. Welcome, Mr. Ekpu. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
It's my pleasure.
Now, I thought we'll start with what I call a direct hit from the former DIG, Deputy Inspector General of Police, Chris Omebem. I'm sure you read his words, courtesy of the cable. He allegedly made a direct appeal, he says, to you. I want to quote him now. I have enough evidence to quiz Soyinka now. Please, Ray Ekpu, can I have Soyinka now? And he says they resisted up till today. Up till today, Soyinka never appeared before the police. End of quote. These are direct.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Yes.
Mr. Chris Omeben is a fabulous spin doctor. This is not the first time he's made this allegation. He has written a book on the Delegiwa issue. He has granted several interviews, and each time he spins it in a different way.
Okay.
He puts salt and pepper and crayfish and spins it.
Wow.
So it will be an interesting soup to lick. But it's a very serious matter, and I think the man ought to be told to stop lying, because he cannot deceive Nigerians. He's adopting the Goebbelian tactics.
Which
Goebbels was an ultimate propaganda man for Hitler. The big lie theory, you tell the lie and keep repeating it, I think it will stick. We have countered these allegations before, And we're surprised that at the age of 80, this man is lying again. He says he's an archbishop of a church, and I would expect that an archbishop would tell the truth,
Yes.
so that he has a chance of meeting Jesus in heaven. But at 80, and as an archbishop of a church, he's lying through his teeth. Now, let me address this issue.
Yes.
First, he said that in 1986, he said there was a boardroom upheaval. We had a disagreement of the board, and we fought and decided to kill Delegiwa.
In other words, there was a kind of rivalry in the board.
Yes, yes. But he didn't say whether it was between the executive members of the board, executive directors, or non-executive directors. Of course, the non-executive directors had nothing to gain by killing Delegiwa.
Yes.
They were all successful businessmen.
Yes.
So you can assume that he was talking about the executive directors,
Which are
means
you?
the three of us.
Yes.
Yakubu, Mohammed, Anagbese, and Reepu.
Yes.
And he has actually said, in addition, that we shielded Kayode from being interviewed.
And I want to talk about that because his argument seems plausible. The bomb arrived, and at the point when it will be detonated or it will be exploded, Kayode Soyinka seemed not to be there. And in fact, in spite of all the destruction, he seemed to have come out of it unscathed. So his argument is, did he know something? Was that why he got up from the dining table to move away?
We've addressed this before. His story is not correct. He doesn't know the geography of the place.
Right.
I lived on one wing, and Delegiwa lived on the other wing.
Like a duplex?
Yes, a
Okay.
duplex, a twin duplex, 25 Talabi. And the two sides were structured the same way. You had the study, you had the kitchen and the dining area, and then the rooms.
Yes.
The study was far removed from these other sections. And Dele used to spend time with his friends in the study, just the way I did.
Yes.
I would eat in the study, I would drink and with my friends in the study.
Yes.
So on this particular day, they were having breakfast in the study, not in the dining area. What he's saying is that they were in the dining area. He assumes that
Yes.
they were in the dining area, and then as soon as the bomb was about to explode, Kayode ran away to
Yes.
the kitchen
Yes.
or the next door. That is absolute falsehood. They were in the study, and Kayode was sitting directly opposite Dele,
So we assume there's an office table in the study.
just a few inches away. On an office table, there was a typewriter.
Yes.
The typewriter was mangled, it disappeared completely. And when the parcel was brought, Dele placed it on his laps
Yes.
and was opening it. And the thing exploded and threw Kayode down on the floor. His ears were perforated. If you look at the newspapers
Yes.
of that period, you will see all of this. The ears were perforated. He could not hear for several months. So how would a guy who knows that a bomb would explode in the room in which
He's
was
sitting, yes.
sit down there, how could he know the circumference of the damage that would occur
Yes.
from that, except the person is a suicide bomber?
Yes.
There must be a motive to a crime. Why would Kayode Soyinka want to kill Delegiwa? There's no reason.
He was the London correspondent
Was
for
a
the
London
magazine.
correspondent.
Yes.
And he was not even number 10th on the line of hierarchy. So he would never become editor-in-chief except he killed maybe about 10, 12 people. There was no reason for Soyinka to kill Delegiwa. And the story is so preposterous. I don't know why the man keeps repeating it. And he says, I shielded him
Yes.
from being interviewed.
Okay. Now let's look at it from this angle. If the man ever come to you directly to say, look, I have my suspicions based on what I think. I'm looking at this Mr. Soyinka. I want to interview him. Did he ever come to you to
No,
say
that
that?
didn't happen. In fact, Soyinka was interviewed twice by the police. Soyinka was in Nigeria for 2 months.
Yes.
From the period the incident occurred and the burial. He came with his wife to the burial. in Ekperi.
So it wasn't
For
as
2
if
months.
he disappeared.
No, he did not disappear. He was available. He was being interviewed by the media. So we talk about he escaped. He didn't escape. He was our correspondent in London. He wasn't working in Nigeria, but he had been away for about 2 months because of this incident. And we said to him, well, Dele has been buried. The police have interviewed you twice. Yes. You can go back. And I went with him to the airport. I accompanied him. He went through the normal route in the airport, filled the papers. He didn't go through Nadeko route.
Yes.
So it's not as if the police did not know.
He snuck out of Nigeria.
Yes. A few weeks after he left, the police wrote a letter to me and said I should produce Kayode Soyinka, that they wanted to interview him.
Yes. I
said, well, the man had been here for more than 2 months and you've interviewed him twice. If you still want to interview him, this is the address. He's in London. This is the telephone number.
Yes.
And I never heard anything from them. I didn't know whether they went to London or
not.
whether they interviewed him or not. So.
Yes. Did Mr. Giwa receive parcels regularly from government?
Yes. At least I know about 2 incidents that he showed me.
And when we say government, are we talking
about... From the president.
From the president.
Yes, it was the president dealing with him directly, sent Akilu, who would send a parcel sealed, and they would inscribe on it from the commander-in-chief to be opened only by the addressee.
Yes.
And usually got to him, he would open it. Sometimes he would invite me to
witness it,
to come and read it with him, and we decide on what to do. Most of the time it was advanced speech that the president was going to make, and we would get it in advance and we would prepare the story.
Okay, and so why do you think Mr. Omebe is narrowing this thing down only to Kayode Soyinka?
Because he wants to deflect. He wants to divert attention from the real persons that is an apologia for the failure or the reluctance of the police to do its duty properly.
Yes.
Okay, there is no statute of limitation on crime.
Yes.
Kayode Soyinka is from Ogun State. He's come to contest election here for the governorship of Ogun State 2 times, campaigning all over the place.
Yes.
He was never arrested by the police. Nothing that bars you. Once you commit a crime, you can be arrested and detained anytime. Yes. In any case, there have been connections with Interpol, so even if it was in London, they could bring him down here.
They picked him up, yes.
Kayode comes here regularly. His magazine sells here. His wife had a shop, came to establish a shop here. He brings his children here. Is it that they do not know that he's always been around? So if he's convinced that that is the man,
they
should have gone for him. And he just comes and says something to impress people. We were all at the Puta panel in Lagos, in Abuja, and we made these statements. This man really doesn't have a hand on this case. It was actually Abubakar Saf, who was Assistant Commissioner of Police, who handled the investigation.
Right.
We've spoken to Abubakar Saf. He has spoken to the media. He spoke at the Puta panel, and he said that he did an investigation and narrowed it down to 3 people that he wanted to be allowed to interview and to search their offices and their residences. But Omeben and others around him did not allow him to do it. He submitted the case file to them. They did not return it to him, and they did not assign the case file to anybody else. That is Abubakar Saf, who was Assistant Commissioner of Police. He later became Commissioner of Police in Lagos State. A man of courage. This man, Chief Omeben, is not a man of courage. He's not a man of truth. Yes, he should not be believed. He must not be believed. He says that we shielded Kayode Soyinka. I, in particular, shielded Kayode Soyinka, which means that we are co-conspirators.
Yes.
Somebody killed our friend, and we are supporting that person instead of pushing him to the authorities. That is defamatory.
Yes.
Criminal defamation.
And you know that, of course, because he continues to repeat this story, and because we still haven't found the killer of Delegiwa, it makes people's insinuations seem true or seem real. For instance, perhaps the romance between Newswatch and the president at that time, Ibrahim Babangida, was the reason why the rest of you could never really come out forcefully to campaign for the killer of Delegiwa.
No, we did for many years. We did. We issued a lot of statements, granted a lot of interviews. I wrote to almost every IG that came after that. We went everywhere. And the thing is very, very painful because for me, friendship is God-given.
Yes.
Friendship is made in heaven. Yeah. Dele was my close friend. I was his close friend. When I left Daily Times, I went to look for a job in the Guardian.
Yes.
And when I came back, Dele saw me, came to see me. He said, why did you go to the Guardian? I said, I went to look for a job. He said, no, you have to come to Concord. You have to work in. I said, no, we're very close. I don't want to work in Concord when you are there. Because if anything happens to me, it is happening to you. If it's happening to you, it's happening to me. And he said, no, we've decided. You come and be chairman of the editorial board. He won me over. I said, okay. Dr. Doyin Abiola said I should come and sign the papers. I said, no, I give Dele the power of attorney.
Yes.
Let him negotiate with you. He said, this your friendship is very strong. This is your future. You're asking somebody to handle it for you. I said, no, I trust him. And he went to Chief Abiola, and the man asked him, what should I pay Ray? He said, pay him exactly what you are paying me. Yes. And the man said, no, but you've been working here for quite a while. And Dele said, okay, then pay him 500 naira less than you are paying me.
Yes.
He negotiated it. I got the job. That is friendship. And then when he had a problem with the chief said to him, I want your resignation letter. I said to him, you dare not resign. Let him fire you.
Yes.
If we both leave, we can go and stay in a face me, a face you, one room.
Yes.
Both of us can live there and we will survive. So Abiola didn't fire him. He assigned him to the editorial board, where I was the chairman.
Yes.
And I already had 4 members of the editorial board, all bright young men in the same room. And I said, Dele, you are not going to stay there. This man, our proprietor, wants to humiliate you. I will not allow that. I went and brought a desk and a chair and put in my office. So we shared our office and shared our secretary. The proprietor was very angry with what I did because I didn't allow him to rub his face in the mud. That, to me, is friendship. You stand by your friend every inch of the way. Rain, sunshine, in the forest, in the valley, in the hill, you must stand by your friend. Yes. This man's idea, his worldview is warped. Friends don't do that. How do you kill your friend? Yeah. It doesn't come within my worldview. That is perhaps what people like him do. You say you kill your friend. How do you kill your friend? You don't kill your friend. You cuddle your friend, you kiss your friend, you stand with your friend every inch of the way. Yeah. That is the way I was brought up. So it's very annoying for this man to keep repeating this inane suggestion. Yes. And we are considering, because of its repetitiveness, we are considering court action against him. If he doesn't want to go to heaven as a reverend and as an old man, we will make sure he goes to hell. The hell of the various courts in Nigeria. It's very annoying. It's very annoying. He doesn't know we have a family, we have children. He says this, we have a reputation that we must worry about. We have no money, but we try to build a reputation. I'm from a poor family, from a dusty village, and here I am in Nigeria. A few people know me by name, by what I do, and you come and tell people, oh, he killed his friend. That is arrant nonsense.
Join us again after the break.
It is difficult to respond to that question.
Angela, that's a great question.
Great question, Angela. Angela, that is a very great question.
That's a great question.
Okay, that's a great question.
Yeah, very good question.
That's a good question.
This is an interesting question you put.
60 Minutes with Angela. Again, answers to every question you always wanted to ask.
So what is 60 Minutes with Angela all about? It's not an interview. I like to think it's a conversation between two people making the news, people who are in the news, and those who become the news. And the whole idea is to inform, to educate, or to clarify, as the case may be. It is an art getting people to answer the questions that everyone is thinking in their minds. And that's what we try to do on 60 Minutes with Angela. I ask all the questions that everyone's thinking about and no one wants to voice. All the questions you always wanted to ask, you get those answers on 60 Minutes with Angela. Every week on this station, 60 Minutes with Angela, getting answers to every question you always wanted to ask. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, it's 60 Minutes with me, Angela Ajetomobi. On my hot seat today, Ray Ekwu, former editor-in-chief of Newswatch magazine. Now, you know, you guys in Newswatch, that's the four of you, you all heralded the era of investigative journalism. Could it be a story that you did or you were doing or had done that would make any one of you a target of people who want to kill you and eventually killing Delegiwa?
I can't think of any. This has been one of the theories. People said you were doing investigative journalism, so you may have hurt a number of people.
Stepped on toes.
But we sat down in those days and looked back at some of the stories, and we didn't quite put our finger on any story that could have made somebody to get so angry and then to go and arrange a parcel bomb. A parcel bomb was a strange phenomenon in those days.
Yes.
We're talking about almost 30 years ago. Nobody had heard of it in this part of the world. And I don't think even a civilian would go to that extent, go and do a parcel bomb. We're all running around Lagos, going to parties and so on. Somebody could decide to just shoot you. Why would
there was
they
no
take
need
the
for
trouble?
sophistication
No need for that. Arrange an accident for you. As you're leaving, we went to nightclubs, went to parties. As you're coming out, they would shoot you. We were all over the place. So, and Dele was a man who loved life. So that could happen. Why would anybody try to do that? It has to be somebody with a military mindset. I tell you, I'll give you a few hints about this assassination. When Dele was invited by SSS, I accompanied him. He was interviewed by Kilo, and they brought out 4 charges against him. This was the Friday before the assassination. It's one, we were planning to do a cover story on how Ukiwe, second cover story on how Ukiwe was fired by Babangida. We were planning that Dele was importing arms. He was planning an insurrection, a socialist revolution. And number 4 was planning to employ Alozie Gubwaja, the police officer, who was under pressure from the government because he said that soldiers normally drink pepper soup and drink beer, and when they finish, they go and plot coups. So he was estranged, and all of those allegations were untrue, except one, the fact that the Alozia Gugwaja allegation. Yes, I spoke with Dele on the phone. I said, this guy is bright. If the government fires him, means they don't want him. We can hire him.
Yes.
Dele said, yes, we can hire him. But first, let us go and see him. We went to his house in Ikeja GRA. When we got there, he was playing nice fella music, and we all danced. Dele said, this is the real guy.
Revolutionary.
So we left. We had our impression, sat down, chatted with the guy, had drinks, and we left. That conversation was initiated by me on the phone. So how did the SSS get it?
Know about.
They were bugging our phones. And it was only Nitel, which was owned by the government, that was available at that time.
Yes.
And we were using Nitel phones. So who could have done the bugging? How would the police and the SSS get the information? Nobody. I have raised it in the book in Jogging in the Jungle. I wrote a story in the assassination. Nobody has disputed that. That is vital. Secondly, nobody, not even our staff, knew that Dele was receiving these parcels from Ibrahim Babangida. I am probably the only person, not even my two other colleagues, they would see what he would bring. So how did anybody outside government circle know that this is the manner that the president or his people sent messages to Dele Giwa? Yes. Nobody has answered that question. How would any outsider, anybody outside of government know this? It was usually hand-delivered from Akilu to Dele Giwa through a messenger.
And the messenger was given directly to Dele Giwa?
Yes, to be handled by the addressee only. There is no dancing around. If the police cannot get to the bottom of the matter, they should say so. They've lost interest. The Oputa panel came to the conclusion that Babangida, Akilu, and Tunde, the third guy, Togun, that they have a case to answer, that the case should be revived.
Yes.
They refused to appear at the panel. They rather went to court to stop the Oputa panel from inviting them. Look, the day after the assassination, Monday, October 20th, Admiral Aikomo called a press conference, Doran Barracks. They sent out foreign correspondents. They sent out Nigerian correspondents who were writing for foreign papers. They sent out photographers. They addressed the media. Wazo, who was head of SSS, spoke. Akilu spoke. And they said that it was off record. Everything that transpired there was off record. Akilu admitted that he had been calling Dele's house, and he called on the morning of the assassination, and they asked him why. Fumi, Dele's wife, actually asked him why. He said, oh, I intend to stop there on my way to Kano. And he never stopped on his way to Kano on that day. He never went to Kano. He never stopped on the way to Kano. How did he know? Why didn't he come? And since then, he never got in touch. So the part of friendship, he said, in Hausa land, when you visit somebody, it means that you are his friend.
Yes.
He never visited him.
After the assassination?
After that. On the day he said he was going to visit, that he went to Kano. He was going to, on his way to Kano. He didn't visit. And after the assassination, he didn't visit.
Who do you think killed Dele Giwa?
Those are the names now. These names have been published.
You too think it's those names?
Yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
You think
Absolutely.
it will ever be solved?
Absolutely.
You think we will ever get closure on this? Will there ever come a time that...
Nobody is interested. Nobody is ready or willing to touch this case. Nobody is interested. Mr. Chris Omeben is just jiving. He thinks he can deceive the public. We know the truth. If we committed the offense because we had a wrangle in the board,
yes,
how come we are walking free? If Kayode Soyinka committed the offense, you are convinced.
Yes.
Why is he walking free for 20-something years? He should be in handcuffs, should be brought to trial. Yes. We should be in handcuffs. We should be brought to trial. But the police knows that it is just lying.
What if you ran into Dele Giwa today,
What if I did what?
Yeah, if you run into Dele Giwa today and he says to you, you know, I'm disappointed. The three of you I left behind. No one has been able to find my killers, and you were the guys left behind. And I thought that must be a real emotional burden for the rest of you to carry.
We found the killers. The government does not want to do anything about it. The person who did the investigation, they blocked him, Abubakar Saf, Oputa panel, Joseph Oputa, was an eminent jurist. He said the government and its people have a case to answer. So who else? The killers have been found by the Nigerian people. It is just the government that says it hasn't found the killers. The Nigerian people have found the killers. It's the police that says it has not found the killers.
Yes.
It is trying to shift the blame to innocent citizens, innocent Nigerians. You know, it is very difficult to tell a lie successfully. Social scientists in the US did a survey, did a research, and they found out that for you to tell one lie successfully, you need 11 lies to cover up that one lie. And for you to tell 2 lies successfully without it being uncovered, you need 11 times 11 lies. Chris Omeben cannot find 11 lies to cover up his original lie. That is the truth of the matter. If you wake me up from sleep, I will tell the same story
Again
and again. This man has been embellishing his story, twisting it, turning it. Each time he looks for a new person, he's adopting the Goebbelian tactics. He thinks that if he keeps repeating it, the public will buy it. The public is not buying it because the public knows that we are not killers. We could not have killed our friend. We came together willingly. There was nothing to kill our friend about. We all earned the same salary.
Was there equality between the four
There was
of you?
equality. We all wrote columns. Nobody was stopped from doing anything. It was a collegiate arrangement. Every decision, whether it was a management decision or editorial decision, we took it as a group. There was no reason for that. I tell you how we chose who will do what.
Yes.
The officers, the 4 of us, the decision was taken by Yakubu Mohammed and myself in Yakubu's house. I said to Yakubu, these 2 men, Dele Giwa and Dan Agbese, are estranged from their employers. They feel very bad. Dele Giwa was removed as editor of the Sunday Concord and made a member of the editorial board under me. Dan Agbese, who was editor of the New Nigerian, was removed from his position. I didn't assign him to any position. So I feel that we ought to do something to tell the former employers that we have confidence in them, that they didn't deserve the treatment that they received. So let us make Dele editor-in-chief and make Dan managing director. 2 of us can be executive directors. It wasn't a question of inferiority or superiority. We felt that we needed to do this for our 2 colleagues. Any one of us could have edited a magazine. Any one of us could have been managing director. After all 4 of us had edited papers before.
Yes.
So it was an act of friendship. We said, okay, let's do it this. And that is, when we came to announce to them, they were surprised, to Dan and Dele. Yes, 5 minutes we had decided. There was no argument. So what are you talking about? That we were quarreling? Quarreling where? To kill our friend because we quarreled? That is idiotic. You look at that, you wonder whether that is a quality of analysis that the DIG in the Nigerian police is capable of. That quality of analysis is rock bottom low.
Join us again after the break.
I am concerned about the traffic situation in Lagos, especially. And I should think that every or any responsible government in this state should treat the issue of highway traffic as a major issue. There are a number of persons who have died on their steering while on traffic. Every day, there is huge problem of people commuting from one point to the other. It is so bad that the Lagos State government dedicated an entire radio station to traffic monitoring, 96.1. And all of this has not really helped. The Lagos State government must wake up to devise out of the box methods and strategies to combat traffic in Lagos. I think what the former Governor Fashola was doing to ensure that there's greater discipline among drivers is enforced to the letter. Too often we have brigands as drivers in Lagos. How do you explain Danfo drivers heading all the way from, let's say, Oshodi or Sele towards Maitu on the wrong side, one way, on full blast speed, with headlamps up, and then they drive past last mile officials, they drive past policemen, they drive past federal road safety agents. If people are not careful, they'll have head-on collision on one side of the road, and then there will be casualties. I should think Lagos State government must wake up to address the problem and the menace that huge vehicular traffic causes in Lagos. I think this is necessary. My name is Eddie Odiri, and that was my rant.
Welcome back. My concluding moments now with Ray Ekpo, former editor-in-chief of Newswatch magazine. So, what next? Is it just going to die? I mean, is the case just going to die a natural death and we will never have anyone prosecuted and convicted for the death of Dele Giwa?
I'm sure that if there was any evidence left, it must have been obliterated by the police and its co-conspirators. Because Abubakar Saab, who handled the case, said he wanted to be given the permission to interview these three people and search their houses and their offices. And he was not allowed. So if there was anything that he could have found,
Yes.
20-something years ago from these people, nobody can find it today. So I'm sure that part of the evidence has already been destroyed.
What do you think could have been the motive for wanting to kill him?
Difficult question. One can only be guessing. There are all kinds of conspiracy theories that have been thrown
Yes.
around on this case. Some say it was because of Gloria Okon's case. Gloria Okon is a lady who was arrested and was said to be a courier for Mrs. Mariam Babangida, and she was in detention in Kano and she died mysteriously.
Yes.
And people say, oh, Newswatch was closing in on the
case.
That's right. But it didn't happen that way. Yes.
Did you close in on her?
We tried to investigate. It was an issue raised by one of our reporters at our editorial meeting, which was chaired by Dan Agbese. It wasn't even chaired by Dele. And we said, okay, we don't have any information. Let us send one of our reporters to go to Kano and do some preliminary investigation. And whatever she brings back,
Yes.
will determine whether we can put more people on the story to dig further. The lady went to Kano, did some investigation, didn't come up with much, so the case just died because we didn't have leads that we could follow
to go on
to do a serious investigation.
Because you
Gloria
know,
Okon's
rumor has it that Dele Giwa found Gloria Okon, or the alleged Gloria Okon. He was at a party with her in London, managed to get photographs with her. So people are looking at all these conspiracy theories and still coming back to the fact of investigative journalism.
It could only, if Dele Giwa said anything about Gloria Okon, maybe it was on the phone, but on the magazine, no. Maybe he said something about Gloria Okon on the phone, and because our phones were bought anyway,
yes.
somebody could pick it up. Oh, we're working on Gloria Okon's story.
Yes.
Because Dele was a man who could speak very, very freely.
Yes.
And if somebody picked it up, he would say, okay, we are working on Gloria Okon, you want to arrive at something? Oh, I am just speculating. All kinds of speculations. They were bugging my house as well. It's not a phone only. In my study,
you found things?
Yes, I found bugging devices. They put them in the back of some fat books in my house, on the back. Small bugging devices like this.
Microphones?
Yes.
To listen to what?
And the following day, I got information that they were complaining that they were not receiving me anymore. Because I brought somebody, a security man, to come and sweep, that's their language, to come and sweep the whole place.
Yes.
My residence.
And of course, he will detect where the things are.
They bring this equipment, they didn't make noise, and that's how we found them in my study. So I'm sure they had such things in their study, apart from bugging our phones.
Yes.
So I removed the items out of my study. I brought a radio and kept there, and I would be saying, well, if you want to listen to what I'm saying, listen to the music. These things went on. And we also discovered a guy who was working with SSS among our staff. And he didn't declare that he had ever worked for SSS. He just deleted that. And somebody phoned me. We then confronted him, and he said, yes, he didn't work for long. But people who work for security, they never leave.
They don't
they
ever
work
resign.
For security forever. They don't retire.
Yes.
So we fired him. I don't know how many more were still on the magazine.
I mean, I'm trying to understand what was going on then, with the Oputa panel mentioning these three names, Abubakar Saab also mentioning these names, and the fact that the magazine and you all were friendly with the government of the day, such that if the government was angry at anything you all had written or said, I'm sure they had access to you to complain, which would
it was a limited kind of friendship.
Yes.
You can't be aloof and get stories. You have to be friendly up to a certain point.
Yes.
And you know where to stop.
Yes.
So there is no sharp boundary. If you want to be a successful reporter, you must be friendly with people, not just government officials, but other people.
Yes.
But when you are doing your job, you must still do it professionally. We had some of our friends, General Basanjo had been our close friend and father, but any time we had an interview, it was war. Yes, the man would get angry and get up and carry his, say the interview is stopping now.
Yes.
He was our friend. He's like our father. We've known him for more than 30-something years. And a few weeks ago, when we went to see him, we had some disagreement with him. We said to him, you've been criticizing Goodluck Jonathan sharply. You are the one who brought this man here.
Yeah.
You mean you didn't know him? He said, okay, sit down. It was just about seeing us off. He said, sit down on the pavement. And we spent three times more time on the pavement discussing this than what we came to discuss with him. And he said to us, our friendship is like that of a man and his estranged wife. None can leave the other, and they always quarrel, but they won't leave each other. So we admit, but when you are doing a professional job, you must put your profession first. Friendship, yes, is there. So it doesn't mean that because some of us were friendly with government officials, we would surrender the magazine to them. It would defeat the idea of coming out and saying we want to do a magazine that is professional.
I mean, I can't let you go without asking you the situation today with the magazine. I recall on the 22nd of August 2012, the alleged sack of you all by Jimoh Ibrahim, a lawyer, and subsequently you went to court to retrieve the magazine back. What is the situation today? Is Newswatch still on the stands? Is it in the same format? Or has it changed?
No, it can't be on the same format. You hardly see it on the newsstand. They say it's a monthly now.
Yes.
You can make a news magazine a monthly magazine. I've never heard of that before. He's just publishing because we have this case in court to show that he's still publishing.
Yes.
Yes, he went to court to say we are no longer directors of the company. And we had this judge who said we are not directors of the company. It was a very funny case. We presented documents, the magazine, copies of the magazine published when Jimoh Ibrahim was in charge.
Yes.
And his name was listed, our names were listed, and the magazine's name listed as chairman, we were listed as directors. We presented this in court, and the man accepted that he was chairman. He didn't accept that. The same document,
yes,
approbate and reprobate, as the lawyers call it,
yes,
the same document. So it was like a strange judgment. And we said, some of the lawyers, young lawyers in court, were saying, what's wrong with this man? What did you do to him? Why is he giving this kind of judgment? But we've appealed against that. That's nothing.
Yes.
We went to court and to say this man did not perform according to the agreement.
Yes.
The agreement we had with him was that we will sell 51% shares of the company to him for 510 million naira.
Okay.
And the money must be paid before May 5, 2011.
Right.
Secondly, was to pay 500 million within 90 days. We retired on May 5, put in our letter of resignation, retirement. And he said he would pay. He didn't pay until we left. And then we started
chasing the money.
Started chasing him. He was playing games. He ran the place. We were exchanging letters, phone calls, we had meetings. He ran the place for 1 year and 3 months and didn't pay the staff.
At all?
And he paid, and he was owing them 4 months. He ran the place aground. And the staff went to the NUJ in Lagos to complain. And the NUJ wrote a letter to him. The staff wrote a letter. He just came angrily and shut down the place. It was like a movie, but it wasn't a movie. He just shut down the place.
So
what we had labored for 27 years.
It's shut down now as we speak?
Well, this man went and registered a company called Newswatch Newspapers Limited. Just because we told him that the reason we were coming to him, we wanted investments because we wanted to start a high-end newspaper.
Yes.
Apart from the magazine, so he went and quickly got company registered, Newswatch Newspapers Limited, without our knowledge, without our input as to share structure. I asked him 3 times, what is the share structure? I will tell you. When he didn't tell us, I said to my colleagues, I smell a rat.
Yeah.
Let us send somebody to investigate what is happening at the Corporate Affairs Commission. Lo and behold, we found that this man gave 90% of the shares to himself and 10% to Newswatch Communications Limited, the original company. So if he owned 51% of if 10% belonged to Newswatch Communications Limited,
yes,
he would get another 6% if he owned 51% of the original company. So he would get 96%
yes,
of the newspaper. That's what happened. And when on October 20, we won the case and he was stopped from publishing. He went and registered a company called Newswatch Times Limited and started publishing a newspaper called Newswatch Times. That's it. You want to circumvent the judgment because the judgment said, stop.
Clear.
It's not stop. But he's still using the brand name Newswatch. In another country, a guy like that would be in jail. But this is Nigeria. He's publishing, taking somebody's property. In court, he was asked to show the receipt because the agreement said, when you pay the 510 million, you'll be given a receipt of payment. You'll be given share certificates. And the board chose Dana Bese and Reepu to handle this. When he pays the money, you issue a receipt and you issue a share purchase.
Till today, has he made good with the money? Nothing.
It doesn't have anything to show in court. The reason he's appealing to the Court of Appeal is just to waste our time so we don't get hold of the property. And he thinks that since we're old men, we'll probably die before the case ends. He probably thinks so.
Oh, Mr. EKPU, it's been a delight speaking with you today. I thank you very much for coming on the program.
It's my pleasure, Angela.
It's been
Thank
a delight. And that's it for this week. I'm Angela Jitmobi. Thank you for watching.